seeing a black screen here?
That I don't know. Oh, no.
Thought it was so cool.
Yeah, we were doing so good.
Tested it and everything.
With the bird stream?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, it says stream starting soon in the real world. People are showing up.
Great.
Here's what we look like currently.
Looks good. Looks good.
All right. When you're ready.
I'm ready. Just point at me when we're live.
Press the button. Okay. Check, check, check.
Checkity check, check.
Oh, yeah. Sounds great.
Great.
Okay. Here we go. And 3, 2.
Hello. I don't know if we're actually live. We're not. We are. It's good to see y'all. Here's the situation. It's the beginning of our third season as the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblies. We've gotten 2 straight promotions. I'm joined by my longtime friend and colleague, Stan Meller. Hello, Stan.
Hi, John. And hi, everybody.
I've had a really rough day, if I'm being particularly honest, and we'll talk about that. But I want to start by talking about what I need to do in this game to succeed. Because what I need to do in the real world to succeed is very hard to understand and overwhelming, but that's the great thing about video games, Stan, is it just there's only one. I have one job.
Yeah.
And my job is to get a manager popularity rating at 90 or above. And as you can see right now, I'm at 91, not to brag.
Well, that job's done.
And I will have to stay there. So what would we have to do this season? We have to avoid relegation, not get relegated, not go back down to the third tier. Emirates FA Cup round of 16 stage. That'll be very challenging.
Okay.
And then we have continental success, which is listed as critical, but it's troubling because we are not playing any games in Europe. So
now,
we can't succeed continentally because we aren't participating in any continental competitions.
Is there a way that we could somehow qualify for one?
Perhaps, but again, it says no objectives, even though it's critical. This game is so broken. Then we got a bunch of youth development stuff to do, which we'll definitely do. Brand exposure stuff. We got to get a streak of 5 wins in the league, which is unlikely. And then finally, we got to make a $2.7 million profit from selling youth players, and we're almost there. We've already done 83%.
Well, these youth programs have been terrific.
Terrific. So speaking of the youth programs, I've gone ahead and sent out some scouts. Usually I wait for the super chat money to flow in, but we've got scouts currently in Egypt, Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone's been so good to us.
Yeah.
I mean, remember Yeboah? Wimbledon legend Yeboah?
I do.
Yeboah.
The Messiah, he was also from
The
Sierra
Messiah
Leone?
is also from Sierra Leone. And then I went to Brazil because it's known for its footballers.
Sure.
So we'll see how that goes. But today we're going to be playing some games. We're going to be talking. I'm going to be sharing with you why I'm so discouraged. But first, let me introduce you to the starting 11. Up top, we got Matty Stevens, Ali Alhamidi. Then we got Marcus Brown, last name spelled Whitaker and pronounced Brown. We've got Johnny Johnson out on the left wing. We've got Yeboah on the right wing. We've got Jack Curry, Aggression, Carlson, and Einerson as our central defenders. Everything's going to be golden. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to play our first game in the championship. Now, I will tell you that you've got to be a hardcore Wimbly Wombly fan to be watching the first few streams of Season 3 because we're going to lose a lot of games, Stan.
Yeah, I'm very curious now that we're up in the championship league.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be challenging?
Oh, yeah, we're going to lose a lot of games. I mean, now we've got blue on blue violence, a classic recipe for disaster.
Oh, no.
When the Wimbly Womblies play. These blue kits playing against blue kits, it's just a catastrophe. Cardiff, Cardiff is an interesting story because they actually changed their color to red because it was good luck in Malaysia and they got bought by a Malaysian guy. But then the Cardiff fans were like, no, we're just not going to wear those uniforms and you're just not going to be able to sell any jerseys. And finally the guy relented and they went back to wearing their traditional Cardiff blue.
Wow.
So, Stan, I don't know if you've been following the news. I hope you haven't, for your sake.
I limit it to some news reading in the morning until I can't stand it, and then move on to do other things.
Great call. That is the way to do it right now.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the right approach. It's not the approach I've been taking, but it's the right approach. So last night at about 11:30, hundreds, maybe thousands of USAID contracts were canceled, and this affects a lot of American jobs. So I'll give you one example. There's in the great state of Georgia. You've been to Georgia, Stan?
Yes.
Yeah, we've all been there. The great state of Georgia, they make this known for their peanut farming. We used to have a president who was a peanut farmer.
That's right.
That was back when we could have presidents who were something other than billionaires. Anyway, we had in the great state of Georgia, they make this magical paste. This magical paste that's based on peanut butter, but it's better than peanut butter. It provides more nutrition, more calories than regular peanut butter.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's an incredibly effective intervention when it comes to malnutrition. And so people with really severe malnutrition, they need this magic paste in order to recover, especially children. And so this magic paste has become a hugely important part of how we treat malnutrition around the world. And you may have seen this great op-ed written in Time magazine by the Dr. Jen Furin, who works on TB, but also works in global health generally. And she wrote about how in Burundi, where she works, she is seeing patients. We got a score here. Oh, my God. We just almost opened the scoring in our championship season, but it didn't happen for us. Anyway, in Burundi, where she works, she's in a horrible situation where she basically has to try to consider whether or not to split these magic pastes in half to try to save more than one life, or if she is better off kind of picking which kids die, which is basically the option that she has. You know, it's beyond rationing care, and it's choosing. It's trying to figure out who can we save with the very limited resources at our disposal. Well, the magic paste contract was just canceled last night. So the people who make the magic paste in Georgia no longer will be making the magic paste. And we've seen versions of this happen over the last 12 hours or so, everywhere. So essentially every contract related to tuberculosis was canceled. And everybody who works on tuberculosis at USAID does not work, I guess, at USAID anymore, even though it's still not clear whether it's constitutional for the executive branch to decide who works at USAID.
Yeah,
traditionally, we wouldn't call that constitutional, but we seem to be living in a new world. And that's very stressful for me personally, because I'm on the phone with a lot of reporters over the last day talking about this stuff, because I'm in the very weird situation of trying to promote a book while all of this is happening. And I don't know what to do about that. I'm trying to talk more about the public health emergency than I am about the book itself. But that also, I don't know. I wrote the book. I want to promote. I don't know. I don't know what the hell to do, man.
Well, I think that book can have a positive impact in raising people's awareness of TB and understanding how important that international aid is.
I hope so.
I think it's possible for you to do both in good conscience.
I'm trying to do both at the same time, because that feels like the only thing to do. But we're in big trouble. Global One emergency. Ooh. Great save for Einar, son of Einar, grandson of Einar. I mean, there's so many levels of Einar that went into that save, and I think we felt all of them.
Generations of Einars
went into that moment.
Feeling pride for here and in the afterlife.
Both sides of the veil, the Einars are grateful. Shoot!
Oh!
We've scored a goal! It's Maddie Stevens! It's beautiful Maddie Stevens! Maddie, what is it?
It's our first... Oh, boy, I don't remember Maddie's song. Super Maddie Stevens.
I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out before the next show. Super Maddie Stevens with a beautiful goal. Afua's coming off. That was a beautiful goal. That was phenomenal. Super proud of Maddie Stevens in that situation. And the truth is, who knows if Cardiff is a good championship team or a bad championship team, but we're off to a roaring start. Now, we did almost give up a goal immediately before we scored that goal, so we should not be celebrating prematurely, but that was a good goal. So anyway, it's a mix of like trying to promote the book and trying to talk about the public health emergency that has emerged. But the biggest thing that like is genuinely shocking to me is that one of the things that it appears we've stopped funding is the global drug facility, which is this warehouse essentially, and negotiating strategy.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain everything the GDF does, but it's a huge global warehouse that almost all countries buy their drugs from and their tests for TB. And so the GDF is always renegotiating. For instance, when we convinced Johnson & or when lots of people working together convinced Johnson & Johnson to abandon their secondary patents on bedaquiline, it was the GDF that actually negotiated a lower price for bedaquiline moving forward. When you know, and so it's extremely, it's beyond important. I think of the 10 million people who are going to get sick with TB this year, 6.4 million are going to get their drugs from the GDF, except that suddenly it seems the GDF no longer exists, which is beyond a catastrophe. I mean, if there really is no mechanism for getting basic life-saving drugs to people, are we going to we scored again? But I'm not going to celebrate because I'm busy talking about that. Unless it's Marcus Brown, then I will celebrate. But it's not. It's Ali Al-Hamadi.
It's Ali Al-Hamadi.
Oh wow, he did a trust fall.
Hamadi.
A trust fall.
Oh,
Never seen that before.
look at him go.
We'll bring on Big Joe Louis.
You say this game's broken.
It's not. It's not. It's a beautiful game. It's perfect. It contains secrets that I didn't know about, like trust falls.
Yeah. Worrying about the trust falls, not the mechanics of the game.
Exactly. Don't worry about all the emails. Just enjoy the trust falls. So, who knows what's actually going to? I mean, it's beyond a baffling time. I have no idea what's actually going to happen. But the GDF is. I mean, to say that it's essential would be a huge understatement. A huge percentage of people who have TB get their treatment through the GDF, and a huge percentage of people who get diagnosed with TB get their tests through GDF. So like this affects countries all over the world, like not just poor countries, but a lot of middle income countries too.
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, I don't know how, I know that we're all accustomed to catastrophes now. You know, like it's been a solid 6 weeks or whatever of catastrophes, but this is a completely different scale. This is permanently canceling contracts that were hugely important, absolutely essential.
Life-saving.
Life-saving. And if those 6.4 million people don't get access to drugs, or some percentage of them don't, most of those people will die of tuberculosis. And we will see far more drug-resistant tuberculosis because we interrupted their treatment in the middle of their treatment, which we know is what's the leading cause of drug-resistant tuberculosis. Akusua says, "I was disappointed you left me out, Big J, but I know you're in charge. I have to rotate the squad." Martin says, "I'm not usually to big myself up, but I could have made an impact against Cardiff City. We won the game. Wrong opposition." I've been dreaming about this happening, Big J. I'm desperate to show everybody what I can bring to the team. I was impressed, son.